Look at these nice little spots for families to gather or friends for a chat. I've installed 4 of them here. I hear cats fighting over here. A cat fight. Oh, here they are. Lots of pruning done here a while ago. And then the life comes back again, like all these were much higher, all this shrubbery. Pruning happens in life. Sometimes intentionally and sometimes simply passively we accept pruning. Sometimes we resist it and fight it. Today we have a great thrust of confidence expressed by God in us, human beings. And He wants to let us to let our light shine. And sometimes people think, like, what's God thinking of me? And sometimes we have a guilty conscience and we feel like God's a policeman or a punishing authority. But God is the life giver. God is our life giver. God is the one who gives us all this gift of abundance, of life itself. There's an extraordinary variety and symphony of creatures and possibilities and dynamics. It's really amazing the richness of His gifts in the natural order and the supernatural order. What we share with all creatures coming forth from His creating will. But then the awesome company and intimacy we can have with Him. This is just amazing. And now He wants us to be the light of the world. And it's not an ego trip. It's a service trip. And Nicea expresses it so powerfully in that concept of being the light of the world is developed in Nicea wonderfully. And in the text we have today, in a particular way, then your light shall break forth like the dawn. And when I came out here this morning, a little after 5, it was very dark. And in the dawn light, I was there in the chapel praying, and the dawn light the lake started becoming visible. And the trees started becoming visible. And their color, the green. And we just saw the flowers. Your light will burst forth like the dawn. This is what God wants for all of us. He wants us also to have the joy of our light bursting forth like the dawn. Imagine the beauty of just one leaf here, you know, and how light is very important, that we see the beauty of the leaf. It's a beautiful thing about light is it draws attention to the others, to the other creatures. It brings out the beauty of the other creatures. The beauty of water. I don't know if you saw yesterday's live streams, but there was an extraordinary reflection on the water. It's just amazingly delightful. Gorgeous. The reflections of those clouds in the water. Today it's different atmosphere, different weather. So And the light brings that out. You see the stones underneath, you see the shells, you see their color, you see their form. What a wonderful thing when we are light and we bring out all the color and the form that are in others, all the potential they have, to let them shine, to let them glow, to help them to light up. And some people go through a terrible existential crisis and they're walking paths of darkness, paths of self-absorption. Their life's focus is not the service of others, it's locked inside of pleasure seeking, of affirmation seeking, of power seeking, of wealth seeking. It's about me. To become a person about others, you are the light of the world. The world needs your light. It's a marvelous way to live. It is life. The other is actually shrinking when we're just focusing on ourselves. There's a very interesting dynamic also in the gospel text in this regard, but let's first of all say with Isaiah. So when it says, then your light shall break forth like the dawn. So when does it then? When does it then come about? When is then the moment the light is going to shine? So we have to read the verses before that, and it says, share your bread with the hungry, shelter the oppressed and the homeless, clothe the naked when you see them. You know, I'm reminded also of the Last Judgment description in Matthew chapter 25. I was hungry and you gave me to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me to drink. I was homeless and you gave me shelter. I was naked and you clothed me. I was in prison and you visited me. I was sick and you looked after me. Extraordinary, isn't it? And do not turn your back on your own. Oh boy. That's family relationships first of all. And we know when Jesus came to his own, they did not welcome him. He was rejected. In a very small arena of that was when he went back to Nazareth and his own people wanted to throw him over the cliff. And we can't throw stones at those poor people from Nazareth because sometimes that happens to us. Isn't this great education that Isaiah is giving us here in this text? Then your light shall break forth like the dawn when you do those things. And then there's another line down where it's repeated again, and it says, if you remove from your midst oppression, false accusation, and malicious speech. Malicious speech. That's one that's very easy for all of us to fall into, to speak badly about others, kind of confidentially, just so you're aware, just so you know. And we ruin the character of another. And some people are burdened by false reputation, malicious reputation, false reputation. And to contribute to that is really, should be a heavy burden on our conscience. And one of the biggest issues is we don't understand all the circumstances of people's words, of people's actions, of people's behaviors. And we tend to be very judgmental. And then we can speak, because if we have bad judgments about people and we speak, then it's going to be malicious speech. Imagine all the conflicts in kitchens, in workplaces, in playgrounds, and in business, in the economy, in politics, at all levels, from the municipalities and the town halls to the great venues of encounter of power in our world. To put aside oppression, not to oppress people, not to destroy their property, not to destroy their name, not to exclude them. Oppression. Put aside oppression. And the opposite is to break your bread with the hungry. Instead of being a cause of their suffering to be a cause of their rescue, then your light will shine. And Psalm 112 brings that out very beautifully. The just man is a light in darkness to the upright. Light shines through the darkness for the upright. He is gracious and merciful and just. Gracious, not uncouth, not harsh, not slovenly, gracious. Person that speaks with grace, a person that behaves gracefully, that encounters people gracefully. He is gracious. The great value of gentleness, of kindness, of deference, of that respect that we owe people. These words are so loaded with wonderful treasure for our hearts and our minds. His heart is steadfast. Lavishly he gives to the poor. I had a marvelous conversation yesterday with somebody, and an institution wanted to honor somebody, an educational institution in the US, and the person wasn't able to rise to the occasion financially for this moment. And somebody else did it behind the scenes and made sure that nobody announced it. It wasn't formal. It wasn't publicized. Isn't that amazing? In a certain sense, that's what God is doing all the time in His creation. He's providing us so much good, and He's not saying, look at me. We should be smart enough to encounter Him, and that's the great treat of His creation, is to enter into a relationship with Him through all of this creation, to discover Him who makes the sun rise. I think we leave it like that, because if you go to the gospel, you'll find something very similar there. And let your light shine, and don't hide it. But don't go around saying, look at me. Just do good deeds and your light will shine. You have a lot of strength, you have a lot of joy, you have a lot of intelligence, you have a lot of smarts. You have a lot of experience, a lot of wisdom in life. Let your light shine. Let's leave it like that for today, people. I wish you a blessed day, blessed Sunday. We have very special visitors coming today, very good friends, some pastors from different churches. And I asked you to say a prayer for them. Something beautiful growing and happening. See you later, alligators. God bless you.